Hello again friends, it's Keith with the Rockford Homes How-To series. Today we're going to discuss drywall repair. We won't get into any large drywall repairs that would require you to do any taping or mudding of that fashion. Those larger areas you'll probably want to consult an actual drywall technician, or it may be outside of your scope of work. Today we're going to discuss just splits and nail pops. Nail pops are a biggie in a new home. So the nail pop happens because you get expansion of the materials. Either they'll dry out or they'll get a different temperature because they're on an outside wall. You'll start to see a nail pop develop. Those nail pops will generally have a little bit of drywall mud still on them sometimes, or sometimes that drywall will have flaked off and you'll actually see the nail underneath. We've set this up today to demonstrate what that looks like. Step one is you want to identify the nail pop. You do want to get that loose debris off the top to where you can actually see the nail itself or the screw itself underneath the surface. Then we want to take our drill gun and another screw, and we're going to want to go a couple inches away from that nail pop, and we're going to want to put an additional screw. We'll set it just below the surface. If you can catch your nail on it, it's not low enough. So just a little bit below the surface. We don't want it to pop all the way through, but we want it to have an alcove in it, because we can fill a hole, we can't fill a hill. Our next step is going to be to spackle where the nails we just put in are. I like to use a type of spackle that has a pink lid. Some of them have different drying times if you buy them in the pre-mixed buckets. The pink ones go on pink and they dry white. So it's a really good indicator for folks who don't do a lot of spackling regularly. It gives you an indicator of when you're ready to sand that mark so that you can then paint it thereafter. So we'll go ahead and take the lid off. As you'll see, the spackling is a light pink color. We'll grab a little bit with our putty knife. We're just going to shove that into the hole. Doesn't have to look all that pretty initially, but we want to make sure that we make several passes so that we get it inside of the hole and smooth out inside of the hole. Grab a little bit more for the second one. We're going to do the same. You want to have a little bit of putty just slightly above the ridge that you've made with the hole itself. Now, I will say it's pretty forgiving. If you get to the point where it's on there, you've sanded it all out and you still have a little bit of an indentation, it's okay, it's very forgiving. You just come back with some more putty and you put it on a second time and allow it to dry. There's no wrong way to do it. You just put it on. If you get too much on there, that's fine too. As a beginner, maybe you have a lot that's on there, more than you think that you should have. When you go to sand it, you're just gonna have more dust to clean up at the end, but you'll still end up with the same finished surface. So don't be intimidated by drywalling. It's a pretty forgiving sport. The next step in the drywall repair process is sanding the spackle once it's dried. So let's get started. We're going to take our 120 grit sandpaper sponge. We're going to put it on the wall, flat, and we're going to use a light pressure to try to remove some of the spackle that we've put on the wall to where we can smooth it out to where when we feel it and when we look across it, we don't see any unforeseen ridges. You want to use a circular motion rather than a straight back and forth motion, because you'll get a better, more consistent feel when you're all done sanding. I'm taking it off fairly lightly so that I can see the layers disappear as I continue to sand, to know that I've got the area sanded but that I haven't sanded too far that it's all gone. Okay, at this point a good indicator that you've got it where it needs to be is that you can start to see the indentations from the paint that was previously applied to the area. And you can still see the mark where your drywall repair took place. You run your hand over top of it, feel that it's very smooth. At that point, you're ready for paint.